So you want to make an impact. You're thinking about starting a business, sharing your voice. How do women do it that handle motherhood, family, and still chase after those dreams? Well, listen each week as we dive into the stories of women who know. This is Call Me CEO. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Call Me CEO. This is a special episode. I don't know if you heard, but last episode was episode 100. I can't even believe that it's been that long. And it's a huge accomplishment where starting something new, you never know exactly how long you'll last. They say somewhere in like the first 6 months, a lot of podcasters drop out. And I made it to 100. So to celebrate, we're doing something special today, talking about the changes in media and what you can do today to really grow and magnify your efforts online with my dear friend, Caitlin Derling. And she is the owner of Meraki Media. I almost said Derling. Like I said, I'm like, okay, make sure I get your last name right. It's Derling. And she is absolutely darling and an incredible story of how she was able to do things online that transformed many businesses. So her story really inspired me. And Caitlin, I can't wait for you to share everyone with who you are and what you do. So thank you for coming to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. This is going to be so fun.
Yeah, we're here for a good time. I love your energy. I know many of you because we've chatted online before, we've sent DMs, and you know, when you just connect with someone immediately, that's how I feel about Caitlin. She just has such a positive, wonderful spirit and attitude. And so I very rarely make exceptions to inviting people on who are not mothers, but I do make exceptions. So Caitlin, thank you for being here, and let's dive into media.
Yay, I can't wait. And like I said, thank you so much. I'm so honored. I know it's like a special thing and I feel very special and I just felt like when you and I met on DMing and on social media was a perfect connection and I think that actually lends well into the direction that we're taking things too because people really just want that authentic relationship. They don't want to be kind of like bot sold or thrown into a funnel anymore to some extent, right? They really want that human interaction off of this platform and every platform.
Absolutely. And I think that a lot of us who have been online for a long time can get jaded to that because a lot of us have been told you need a funnel. You can step away from it completely. You can do this, this, and this. And while I think that there is so much strength to automation and, utilizing a team and different tactics, it doesn't always have to be you per se, but it does have to be authentic. And so that's where I love so much about what you do in your business is it's very much with that focus. And I think that makes all the difference in the world. So introduce who you are, how you got started in your business, and a little bit about you.
Yeah, sure. So going back a few years now, I've had Meraki Media for about 3 years. I got started after I was working for a local nonprofit. I'm in the greater Philly area. And I was able to take their Instagram following from 18,000 followers, 500,000 followers in under a month. It was crazy. And honestly, it was definitely a little bit of luck. If we work on social media, there's always a little bit of luck when you hit a viral campaign like that. But a lot of what we did was also strategic to set it up to go in that direction. So then I realized, okay, if I can work backwards and potentially help, hundreds of business owners do this for themselves on a daily basis, imagine how big, their companies could grow. So that was where the seed was kind of planted. And I ended up taking off a month and a half from work, traveled across Europe with my boyfriend. It was just a nice getaway before coming back. And I had clients waiting for me. And to give, a little bit more insight into the business side of things, why I didn't work with influencers and things like that. When I was about 15 years old, I had inherited stock just out of an unfortunate family situation. And I had to learn how to analyze businesses since I was 15. So it made sense why I would go into business specifically for helping other business owners. So that was just kind of a natural transition. And I realized if they didn't have the marketing or if they didn't have, a strategy overall that social media would never be able to fix those problems. Of course, there's a lot of learning along the way when you develop a business, but that was one of the big key reasons of why I wanted to work with business owners specifically. And now 3 years in, I've coached over 35 women on how to do this for themselves. We've managed over 25 businesses accounts over the past 3 years. And yeah, it's just been such an amazing experience. I really do love what we do at Meraki because it has taken such this shift out of like unnatural marketing, we might say, or kind of like ad man-esque lifestyle when I was first starting 3 years ago to now really authentic types of pieces of content. And it's so much more fun that way too.
Yeah. Oh, I love hearing that about your story and how that developed. I think that's really interesting. And also with making it personal. I think that that's something that a lot of us get overwhelmed with the cadence of having to show up all of the time and having to post all the time. And if you're on multiple social media. So let's talk about tactics about what's really working and what's efficient with our time, because we are all limited on what we have to give. So if you could break that down and say, starting from scratch, what are the most effective tools that you're seeing in marketing right now?
Yeah, I would have to say, obviously, one that we all are probably aware of, short-term video, and, now Instagram's even bumped it up to a minute, like TikTok has allowed people to do for a few months now. And that's really the way the world is headed. So not the easiest content to create, but I think also sometimes we get in our heads about that content creation, and it doesn't have to be perfect, like we said either. It's not this like polished video that's, one of a kind out there. It's actually more about just showing up as your natural self and being you so that you can continue to build trust on and offline. Because really, our ultimate goal, especially if we're business owners or even if we're influencers, is to take that relationship off of the platform at some point, whether that's buying a product or, communicating about our services. It really has to head in that direction. So ultimately, we're looking for that trust with our consumer.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that there's a certain amount of posting that you need to be doing, like per day, per week? What have you seen be the most successful?
Yeah. So if you would have asked me 3 years ago, I would have told you, 5 days a week, 7 days, if you can post to your Instagram account. And that would be like static images, carousels, the whole nine. And now I like to say to my clients, if you're present on the application 3 days a week and you're showing up and you really care, now that means by posting, hopefully you're present, as much as you can be to answer DMs and things like that. But it's a lot about balance. So what I work on with my clients is how to spend 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day on the application, make the connections, and then go back to being present in your own life. That's something that I'm really important to me as a business owner, as well as just having that balance. So I would say if you can show up, and post 3 days a week, that's great. But if you can only show up and you can only post 1 day a week, I don't think that should deter you from growing your account either. If that's all you have the time to do it, and see how it works for you. But a lot of social media is experimentation. And I find a lot of social media managers want to give people this formula that will solve all of their issues. And I'm definitely not that person, just because I know out of working with experimentation, sometimes it changes from business to business or industry to industry as well. So if you're a small entrepreneur and you have time, or a small solo business owner, you have time to post 3 days a week plus, do it, work it into your time frame. But if you're busy and you can only do 1 day a week and show up on your stories in between, that's also been proven to be very successful.